cooperation on all sides. For example, the transportation, logistics, energy, and then also bilateral cooperation. PPP cooperation is also a model that we should also study. On the side of energy, we see the strength in Laos and also in Myanmar, and we have long-standing cooperation with these countries. In the past years, we have signed many cooperation from Laos to the tune of 9,000 megawatt. The development is about 70% right now. We are now the transit country for the energy to various other countries in ASEAN. On the area of transportation, we are now at the heart of the region. To the north is the south of China. West is the Andaman Sea, the link to South Asia and Europe. East is the Pacific, which connects with China, Japan, and Korea. So as you can see, whether it be land or sea, our 5 countries have great potential, and we could learn from one another to better transportation. Lastly, on technology, especially the digital technology, we have said earlier this morning that we need to work together to create ASEAN digital infrastructure. As I understand it, our grouping has great potential and is ready to work on it to connect us with the world. Currently, we are dependent on technology from outside the region, but we ourselves have great potential, great expertise, and we have to use these expertise to link us with the world. We need to work together to have us as a more place for our external partners, and this development will help to create greater livelihood for all our people and have strong development assisted by technology, and this will have a great for our 5 countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. And I'd like to pick up on your mention there of technology, because the 4th Industrial Revolution is a big theme of our summit. Prime Minister Phuc, maybe I can return to you, because I know Vietnam has been involved in some interesting developments around digital connectivity in the Mekong. And if you look over the past 25 years or so of the Mekong integration efforts, it's very much focused on physical infrastructure, building roads along the east-west corridor and the north-south corridor. And physical infrastructure is, of course, very important. But are we now moving into a new era where digital connectivity is becoming more important? So perhaps your views on how the 4th Revolution changes the north-south corridor. And physical infrastructure is, of course, very important. But are we now moving into a new era where digital connectivity is becoming more important? So perhaps your views on how the 4th Industrial Revolution changes the nature and the priorities under the Mekong integration plans.
I share the views that the leaders of Mekong countries have expressed and the vision that we have on peace, on stability, on sustainability, on development is still there. We have physical connection or connectivity like transportation or energy, and now we have the advance of the fourth industrial revolution. And I believe that digital connectivity is not somewhat affected by the fourth industrial revolution. It is in fact part of that vision. And there's no change to that, but we can change certain modes of cooperation or add certain plans. For example, we are connecting a telecommunication system through 3 countries, Viet Nam, Laos, and Cambodia. That is the flat roaming plan. The same charge for all 3 countries on telecommunication fees. And for example, we no longer can depend just on natural resources, but we must rely on innovation, on reform, on creativeness. And that kind of new forms of connectivity will make Mekong countries connecting with each other in a more dynamic, more inclusive and creating new driver for the integration of Mekong countries. So the connectivity in the Industrial Revolution affects the development of countries in different aspects, and we need to make certain readjustments. For example, the implementation of e-commerce or the dismantling of trade barriers, enhancing connectivity, sharing best practices in economic governance, implementing plans in the fourth industrial revolution. And the 4 countries have agreed on convening a biannual basis between Mekong countries on this topic. So we need to adjust on certain aspects, but there's no change in the vision for the 5 countries of the Mekong countries in the Industrial Revolution. And it is my belief that the 4th IR will help boost the development of these countries in a faster and more productive manner.
For the roaming charge that's now flat for across the countries involved are Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Will we see Thailand join that group?
Only 3 countries.
Oh, only 3. But would Thailand, is that exploring the option of joining this group?
Thank you for that question. Thailand supports this idea proposed by the Vietnamese Prime Minister to build a digital network. Currently, we have greater capacity, especially for the connection, for example, the landline, undersea, and then also satellite connection. I believe that in the future, that this will help to reduce our cost for operation, and then also the maintenance will also be lower. I'm also confident that pretty soon the expense for consumers will soon come to the same point. We believe this has been an issue which we have discussed for at least 2 years and hope that this will become a reality soon. Thank you.
Dor Suchi mentioned in your comments earlier about the income gaps and the fact that some countries have much higher income than others. Do you, when you look at the fourth revolution, do you see this as something that is going to drive convergence of incomes, or do you worry that it might drive divergence of incomes? Do you think these technologies will be inclusive and empowering, or the opposite?
I suppose basically it depends on how you use them, because there's always a plus and a minus to every situation. For example, you were talking about digital connectivity and comparing it with the physical connectivity of the Mekong region. Now, it is possible that digital connectivity, too much emphasis on connectivity, could make us overlook physical connectivity, which is very important, because I've noticed that people are all usually on their phones with somebody very far away and not talking to whoever is sitting beside him at all. And that means that, in a sense, physical connectivity has been taken over by digital connectivity. So with regard to the income gap, are we going to make the resources of the industrial revolution bring us together closer, or drive us further apart? I think I'm confident Mekong countries will take the path that will bring us closer together. Because, as I said, we have shared cultural values, we have shared historical experiences, and that helps us to generate empathy among ourselves and to understand each other and to try to help each other. And I do not get the impression that the members of the Mekong countries are actually afraid of competition. Outsiders who seem to worry that competition will drive us further apart. So I think that the narrowing of development gaps will be helped by the fourth industrial revolution, particularly as I have great faith in the ability of our people to take quantum leaps.
And Prime Minister Hun Sen, maybe I can turn to you and for your views on how you think the impact of fourth industrial revolution technologies might change the relationships and the interactions between Cambodia and your neighboring Mekong countries.
Thank you. According to my understanding, we are not in the situation like collapse of the dam or running against the wall between the fourth industrial into the industrial revolution. Actually, in reality, it has been happening already. Today, we are in the stage, let's say the from a small road to the big road. So there is no risk like the collapse of the dam in Laos or the collapse of dam in Myanmar. In reality, during the last few years, whether we set through what? Now we send the message how the message to each other. Let's say in solving the certain problem, we has been and are within the industrial revolution already. So I think there is no change of perception or a change in the relation between countries and countries, between the neighboring countries, or with country of outside the region. But on the contrary, what we have been and are having, we will move smoothly, but we have to catch up with those situations. See that for country Mekong or ADMEC, the important thing is the priority is the connectivity. In order to guarantee that our country, all the country, get together in a convenient way, we connect in a connectivity and digital connectivity, and within that, important that is to the legal facilitation. If we do not try to make a legal facilitation, the legal gap would be different. So the integration and the cooperation, let's say the customs tax at the border, it still has a problem. Even in Vietnam, which needed to sign agreement with each other before, we have to suspend the signing agreement with them. Later, we agree with each other about the signing, not to have a double taxation, not to have double taxation with a neighboring country and the neighboring country. It is necessary in order to respond to the need of integration and the closeness between the neighboring country, in which there is no point that would change the mindset or the relation of the fourth industrial revolution. Another thing I think that economic connectivity, there are more sectors, let's say, in the neighboring country, in the ADMEC or Mekong riparian country, besides the physical activity, let's say roads, electricities, air link, or waterway. We have other issues that need to take into consideration. Let's say the use of water at the border. Whether how we could help each other. This is very important for the country that have the agriculture relation. Let's say in Vietnam have the water source. In Cambodia has no water. But sometimes in Cambodia we have water source, and Vietnam have no water source. So there should be cooperation of using this water together. So I would like to use a situation to become a situation that we integrate more with each other. Another thing about natural at the border, we should have agreement in relations to in the response to the disaster. Let's say I used to face such a problem at the flooding in the remote area of Cambodia. We have our people over there, so we have to rely on the armed forces of Vietnam. So the armed forces of Vietnam can evacuate our Cambodian people to the side. That's an example I faced. Therefore, Cambodia and Vietnam, and I'm now discussing them too, so that we can sign on the agreement the cross borders disaster management. If we do not have such a when let's say the Wi-Fi, that Wi-Fi, they do not know the border. They just burn over the border. But to put an end to the fire so that no Wi-Fi. We start from Cambodia. So Cambodia cross to without agreement, we invade Viet Nam. And we come to Cambodia, we will say that Vietnam invade Cambodia. Or the same way. So we should there will be no Wi-Fi. We start from Cambodia. So Cambodia cross to Vietnam without agreement, we invade Viet Nam. And Vietnam come to Cambodia, we will say that Vietnam invade Cambodia. Or Thai the same way. So we should have made work in relations to this issue. What is the request of the business people is the trade facilitation in order to facilitate them so that they can do business together. That is to promote the connectivity and do in the way that. And I think that there is no change of perception in the world, whether the region, about the fourth industrial revolution, that they will change the geopolitics or a change between one country to another or between one group to another. Thank you.
I agree with Prime Minister Hun Sen and Prime Minister Thong Loon that for countries within the Mekong region, the hard connectivity, or physical connectivity is very important in the four following areas. One is the water resources to ensure the effective use of water resources and environment and livelihood. The next is the connectivity in energy, as other leaders have said, for countries with hydropower potential like Laos and others. Next is the transport connectivity, both on roads and in water and in the air. And that's something that we continue to work on, that the highway of these countries are not connected, and that has limitations. Finally, there's another important area of connectivity, that is the training of human resources. That is the most important resource for the application of the fourth IR. So there's both intertwined physical, or hard and soft connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I know that we have actually run over our allotted time, but I feel reluctant to bring the session to a close quite so soon. Perhaps I can just end with one question to all of you, and I think it's an important, interesting question. We are moving into what Professor Schwab regards as a multi-conceptual world, where geoeconomic power is shifting, new centers of economic strength are emerging. And here the Mekong region sits at a very interesting geostrategic location, because to your northeast you have the rise of China. To the west you have the rise of India. To the south, you have the rise of maritime Southeast Asia, notably Indonesia, but also Philippines and others. And so the Mekong region really sits at a very geostrategic location. I wanted, very briefly, if you can, to hear your thoughts on how you view the geostrategic role that the Mekong region will play as you integrate and as you build infrastructure. How can you either be the connective tissue, or how do you think about your geostrategic role? All these big economies all around you also rise and grow. And maybe we can go along in reverse order. DPM Prajin, maybe I can start with you, your views on the Mekong's geostrategic role in the rise of Asia.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You have seen that our region will of the world In the middle, there is Europe, and to the west, the left side is the Americas. So the new picture that we will see, that the Mekong River can act as an important center with can move and connect the left and the right, and we hope and we are confident that we will be able to act as the connector of both regions. We hope to help and connect through physical, digital, and then also the cultural side of connectivity. We are sure that we will be able to help in this aspect. At the geopolitical side, I would like to say that ASEAN, especially on its political, economic, and social affairs, we strive to work together to improve the capacity of the human resources, to have the literacy and help each other and work together to forward and advance the 3 pillars of ASEAN. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. Daw Suu Kyi, your thoughts on the Mekong's geostrategic role?
Well, Myanmar has always been particularly conscious of our geostrategic position, because our geopolitical position, if you consider it, we are the ones who are directly between China, India, Southeast Asia, and of course the south of that area. So we've always been to this, that we have to balance our friendships and our relations as a part of Southeast Asia, as well as the gateway to Southeast Asia from South Asia.